Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening. It is October 24th. Before I begin the regular City Council meeting closed session, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during public comment must obtain a number card from the city clerk. And I would like to call to order the regular City Council meeting closed session. The time is 5:34. City Clerk Duarte, would you please take roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Horn,
Present.
Councilmember Sosa,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo,
Here.
and Mayor Frometa.
Present. Well, now is the time for public comment, and I remind speakers that this public comment period is reserved for the comments about the items listed on the closed session agenda. And there will be another opportunity to speak on other items during our regular open session. Also, I would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules and cause a disruption will receive one warning and then may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under the municipal code or citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. I see we have a member of the audience present. You may come up. Did we receive any correspondence, written correspondence?
We did not, Mayor.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take our one speaker.
So today I want to start off by coming to this special meeting and addressing a lawsuit that we've talked about before, which is the Fernando Garcia versus the City of Downey. This was a case where our police department maliciously arrested a victim of a shooting from a business here in the City of Downey. The officer that was sent to, that arrived at the location, sent to is kind of like a long stretch, arrived at the location, did not take into account the common procedures that you're supposed to follow. They did not question whether the DEA or the ATF was involved in this situation. They bothered to gather no actual evidence. And a lot of people think that there was a foul play involved in this. So much to the extent that the surviving witness who was a victim of the shooting sued Downey and took the City of Downey to jury. A jury, and this is a quote from ABC 7. A jury found Downey police acted with malice, oppression, and fraud when bringing murder charges against a man arrested after 2017 shootout involving suspected members of the Mexican drug cartel. Fernando Garcia sued the city and its police department and won his case. Garcia was awarded 1.12, so about $1,012,000 in damages. Now I know that when this was brought up in the past, one of the problems was how the police officer conducted the investigation, why a lot of foul play is suspected to have occurred. This officer, rather than being reprimanded for the various offenses that were conducted during this investigation, was instead moved to the Downey High School. I don't know, but when suspicion of corruption, foul play, incompetence is reported in a police report or in a case that leads to a lawsuit being lost, you don't send that officer to our kids, our children in Downey High School. And I believe that the jury and the suing party had enough evidence to make that case. Councilmember Trujillo, at that time, when it was first brought up, suggested that sometimes the jury gets it wrong. From his track record, he's participated in intervening in investigations and supporting criminals. So he isn't a reliable person to make comment on this matter. My suggestion is you give the man what he deserves.
Thank you for that. And I see we have a second speaker, and this is for closed session items? Yes. Okay.
If I fudge a little bit, then you guys can punish me later. Lee Squire, City of Downey. This was a closed session item, and it's now current litigation. I just want to thank the City Council for your vote of confidence and in joining that lawsuit that was filed by the City of Whittier on the no bail policy. I just want to thank you again for joining that leadership with the other 11 cities. I hope more cities join, but again, I just want to congratulate you for joining that lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. I will entertain a motion in a second to close public comment.
Second.
Okay, so ordered by the mayor. At this time, the city council will now recess to close session under the following authorities. Government Code Section 54956.9D1, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Fernando Garcia versus the City of Downey. LA Superior Court Case Number BC 713683. Number 2, Government Code Section 54956.95, liability claim, workers' compensation claim, claimant General Massey, claim number 20-148502, Workers' Compensation Appeals Board number ADJ 13577-129, the agency claimed against the City of Downey. And item number 3, Government Code Section 54957B, Public Employee Appointment, Title City Treasurer. We will now recess to close session. The time is 5:40.
I hate driving, having to all the time.
I keep, what did you say? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are now coming back from closed session, and I would like to ask our city attorney, John Funk, to report any closed session items.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and members of the public. The City Council tonight convened in closed session to address all 3 agenda items on closed session. There was reportable action on one of those items, item number 3 in particular. The City Council considered the appointment of a city treasurer, and by a vote of 4-0, took action to proceed with that appointment, which will return in open session. That's all my report.
Thank you, City Attorney. Before we begin the regular City Council meeting open session, I just would like to welcome you. I like to have almost a full side of the room. Thank you for spending your time with us. Our time, your time is valuable, and we hope that the next couple of hours are insightful in terms of what business we are conducting in this city. And just thank you for your presence. But before we begin, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak must obtain a number card from the city clerk or from staff in the back. And if you didn't obtain a number card so that you are able to speak during the open comments, please see a staffer in the back of the room and obtain that. I will now call to order the regular City Council meeting, open session. The time is 6:34. City Clerk Duarte, would you please take roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Horn,
Present.
Councilmember Sosa,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo,
Here.
and Mayor Frometa.
Present. And at this time, I would like to call upon our Downey Police Department chaplain, Mr. Greg Welch, to lead us in an invocation. If you can please stand.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, lest we forget what a blessing looks like, we look around this room and we see servants. We see people engaged in our community, both leadership as well as public. We thank you for each and every one of them. We thank you just right off the bat, Lord, for our police and fire, as we always do, because every time they put a uniform on, they said yes. They said yes to protecting and defending us. We got some new kids on the block, Lord. We thank you for them, a good number of new hires. We ask that you go before them. They were hired because of their intelligence and their integrity, and we just want you to bless them and help them hold on, because it's often a bumpy ride. Lord, and we also thank you for all the citizens of Downey, the ones that are here tonight, the ones that are on Zoom, and everybody who cares about this city. This is a great place, and it is because we know what a blessing looks like, and you have blessed our city. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you for that. I will now, if you can please remain standing, we will have our flag salute by the following Girl Scout troops. Girl Scout Troop 2485, 7273, and 275. Good evening, young ladies.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the flag salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could we please give them a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you, Girl Scout troop leaders and ladies from the troops 2485, 7273, and 275. Thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you being here. I know you probably have homework to do tonight, but your presence at our Downey City Council meeting is really appreciated. Thank you. And thank you for the time that you are investing in these young women. And thank you. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful night, and thank you for joining us tonight. What joy it is to see. A couple of weeks ago, we had Girl Scout, Boy Scouts joining us, and it really is a joy to see these organizations coming and bringing the youth to be involved in this civic engagement. At this time, it is time for City Council member announcements and requests for future agenda items, as well as conference and meeting reports. And once again, welcome to your City Council meeting. Welcome to those people that are joining us via Zoom and or YouTube. And I will start at this time to my far left with Councilmember Timothy Horn.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report that during the Downey's 150th celebration, I took part in the Downey Historical Society Museum tour twice. I attended the Columbia Memorial Center Aerospace Legacy Speakers event. I took the tour of Casa de Palijones tour, and then the finale at right here in front of City Hall, the 150th anniversary celebration. Afterwards, I attended the multi-chamber mixer, and also we all enjoyed hearing the mayor speak at the Downey State of the City. For activities, that's it. I do have a question to the City Council and the City Manager. Over the weekend, I have been contacted by multiple residents in multiple districts about various residents with expertise in different fields of study occupations, assisting the city council members or the city manager on a voluntary basis as a venue to resolving the city's problems. This is only on an advisory capacity. I wish to find out if we wish to entertain this offer from the residents.
I'm happy to follow up with you after the meeting to discuss that.
Okay. And that will do it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Horn. Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For future agenda items, I would like to see if at the November 14th City Council meeting, we could agendize a discussion about the YMCA. I've been approached and they're requesting that the council consider waiving all permit fees, plan check fees, and possibly waiving the art and public spaces. Art and public spaces, mandatory 10% contribution they would have to make. Can I get a second to agendize that item for our discussion on November 14th?
Second.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like an update on a dog park, possibly in the south side. I'd like to see where we're at and seeing if we can make that possible for our residents, adding a dog park in the south side of the city. And just an update on the community garden in terms of when should we expect that we can get a garden up and running. I imagine it'll take some time. I'd just like to get an estimate of a time frame of when that garden would come to fruition. With those three items, that concludes my request. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo. To my far right, Councilmember Sosa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Good to see good turnout tonight. We'll go over a few events and meetings I attended. I attended the FatherCon screening. We saw a film titled Wake Up that emphasizes the importance of awareness for child sex trafficking and the importance of having a father in the household. Patrick Erlinson and his team are doing a great job. So I think we need to keep spreading awareness on those two very important topics and supporting FatherCon. Also, I attended the Downey PD Pink Patch at Lazy Dog. It's a great way for us to support our Downey PD supporting breast cancer awareness. So thank you, Downey PD, for doing that again. I attended the Warren Downey football game. As you all know, it was at SoFi Stadium. Awesome experience, great game, and very competitive. Both sides played really well, and Warren pulled it out at the end. But hats off to both sides. Very entertaining game. I also attended the Downey 150th celebration. Great way to celebrate this great city we live in. I also attended the Downey State of the City, where I thought our Mayor Clyda Fermetta did a great job in keeping the city informed of what's going on in the city and what's to come. Today I attended the Best Buy reopening ceremony. Place looks great. They're focused on customer experience. Again, place looks great. I also attended a SIACA board meeting, which leads me to my agenda request. I'd like to look at bringing back a program that former Mayor Rick Rodriguez started a few years ago called Pets for Vets. And basically what it does, it pairs pets looking for a home with a vet who could use a companion. And it's basically a very minimal cost partnership with SIACA. I believe other cities are interested. And I'd like to bring that back into fruition and also look at expanding that to law enforcement personnel as well.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. And that concludes my comments, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sosa. We've had a really productive couple of weeks, and as you've all known, I think we are so proud of our city. We are so proud of our history, and we culminated a week-long celebration with celebrating 150 years since our city was founded. And first, before I get into my comments, I just want to say thank you to our city manager and the staff for doing such an incredible job throughout the week. Jason from Parks and Rec and your team, Vanya and Ruby, and certainly our police and fire department, everybody that contributed and collaborated, Ben with the Space Center and the activities at the Space Center, everybody really did a phenomenal job. And so I just want to say thank you. Welcome once again. I do want to acknowledge some members in the audience that are with us, and our Executive Director for the Chamber of Commerce, Michael Calvert. Thank you for joining us. And I also want to acknowledge the excellent event that the Chamber puts on year after year, and that is the State of the City Luncheon. Thank you for that. We had a phenomenal turnout this year, a sold-out event, and really this just also speaks to the fabric of what Downey is, and people seeing our city and our community really turning around, turning the corner. During the State of the City, I mentioned that year to date, during this calendar year, and I want to specifically talk about our law enforcement in our fire department. They have responded. Over 9,000 calls have been attended to from our the fire department year to date. And granted, this was last week's numbers. And for our police department, over 42,000 calls. And again, we are a city that is certainly on the move. We are a city that is busy, but we have a police and fire department that are responsive. There was a small incident earlier today at the Coca-Cola bottling company, a small leak, and that was immediately controlled. There were no issues, but certainly I do want to acknowledge and thank our fire department for your quick and swift response. Thank you for that. Can we give them a round of applause, please? October has certainly been really full of activities. We had over 6,000 people at Havana Nights, September 29th, and over the course of the last several activities and events in our city, we have also seen our community come out in force and come out and be together, celebrate the sense of community. I also want to acknowledge that this year, 2023, over the last 6 to 7 months, something really great has happened in our city, and that is filling key positions in this community. And so again, I want to acknowledge and thank the leadership of our city manager, Roger Bradley. And I want to acknowledge again that the individuals that are sitting here, we as a council, we establish policy and we have ideas on how to move the city forward based on what we are hearing from our residents and the people that elect us to these positions. But we can't do all of this without the dedication and the commitment of a staff that is here, that is present. And so I want to acknowledge each and every one of you. And again, our community development director, Irma Huitron, welcome once again. I know this is not your first meeting, but you are a recent addition to Downey. Certainly Stephen from our finance director, thank you for the job that you are doing, and Math Baumgarter as well. Thank you. And certainly our city attorney, John Funk, who does have roots in Downey. And so all of this to say, Downey's best days are still ahead of us. And after some bumps in the road we've had over the last year and a half, we are moving forward. So I was happy to provide a lot of significant updates during the state of the city. And again, we are moving forward. Is there crime? Is there increased transient activity? Absolutely. In Downey, as it is in all of the surrounding cities. We don't have a perfect city. We don't have, we're not living in a bubble, and we're not exempt from what is happening in cities around us. But make no mistake, we are engaged and we are taking steps to continue to address and make sure that there is law and order, that our downtown businesses are visited. I think I also want to acknowledge our police department in their social media posts, letting our community know that visits are taking place. And again, these have been occurring. It doesn't mean that they just started to happen, but we just want to make sure that the community is fully aware that there is this communication and coordination and collaborative approach between code enforcement and police and all of these agencies to make sure that our city's laws and ordinances are being adhered to. I also want to acknowledge, I did attend a Neighborhood Watch meeting in District 3. There's 234 Neighborhood Watch groups in our city, and these continue to grow, and these are active. That means people want to continue to be involved. And I always say engaged communities are strong communities. I also attended with my council colleague, Father Con, and that film in downtown regarding child trafficking, and we will continue to advocate and continue to bring awareness to that issue. I also, along with many of us here on the dais and over there as well, we attended proudly on October 13th, which happened to be Downey's 150th birthday. We attended the SoFi Stadium great rivalry game between our Downey and our Warren schools, and really the sentiment of camaraderie and sportsmanship was felt. Certainly there was one winner, and so go Bears. But all of this to say that Downey has been certainly a lot in the news, but we also have been celebrating who we are as a community, and the fact that our motto is future unlimited, and great things are coming to this community. I also attended the Best Buy reopening today. We are supportive of our businesses, small and large. In fact, today, 18 years ago today, I don't know if you remember the beginnings of the Downey Landing, and 18 years ago today, Best Buy opened for the first time in the city. And so today we participated in the grand reopening of that store. Request for future items. There is, once again, and I've mentioned to you before, Downey, that we are looking at we visited the city of Whittier and Mayor Vinatieri and staff for a homeless transition and navigation center just about a week and a half ago. And city manager and I did that, and we're looking at solutions for this growing problem. More to come on that, but the request is, we've been made aware that Downey View Apartments, the residents have some concerns with increased homeless and transient activity in and around that particular area and in the downtown area. And as we know, of course, there's a lot of students, close to 4,000 that walk the vicinity into Downey High and back, and there's been some concerns with that increased transient activity. If we can follow up with that. And also, I know that we've mentioned this before. We are looking into the downtown video cameras. I know that that's an item that we are looking at. We are also wanting to make sure you are aware, we are looking into removable ballards. I know that our community continues to have a lot of events, and we want to continue to ensure that there's safety and security in that particular downtown. As far as speed, speed is a problem, and speed continues to be a problem. I would like to request once again, and I know this is an ongoing request, and I see our officers, our motor officers, but certainly in our major arterial streets, I see cars treating our arterial streets like freeways, like highways, and this really is dangerous, particularly as we approach the holidays, and it's getting dark sooner, and then we have Halloween around the corner, and there's going to be a lot of families continuing to walk and trick or treat with their little ones. If we can please pay close attention to the arterial streets. Again, right off the freeway between the 605 and Lakewood on Florence and on Firestone, Imperial, that there's a lot of speeding that goes on. Lakewood, up and down, it's also a concern. And with that, that will conclude my comments and my request. Thank you. It looks like we have a couple of presentations this evening, so I am going, well, before I do that, I do want to invite you. We have the 9th annual Dia de los Muertos Art Festival that's taking place October 29th, which is this Sunday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. I also want to invite our community. October 31st, the city will have its annual pumpkin patch, and that will be in the Downey Adult School grounds. That is this coming Tuesday, October 31st, from 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And last but certainly not least, I also want to invite our community. Our council member, Hector Sosa, is having a town hall meeting on November the 1st, Wednesday, from 6 to 8 at the Barbara J. Riley. And again, we continue to be a communicative and transparent council, and we want to share with you and hear from you what's happening. There's a couple of members that I neglected to recognize. Do we have veterans joining us this evening? And if we do, can you please stand up so we can recognize you? Thank you for your service. God bless you. Our country is not what it is if it wasn't because of you and the sacrifices you and your families have made. Thank you. And I also want to recognize my planning commissioner, Ms. Carrie Uva. Okay, now on to presentations. Oh, I apologize. Yes, city manager comments.
I actually don't have much, Mayor, but I did want to say, happy to provide the updates on the dog park, the community garden. We do actually have a Pets for Vets program, but it does not include law enforcement, so we'll bring that back and have a conversation about that, and perhaps we can increase community awareness and outreach and that kind of stuff. Happy to work on homelessness issues at Downey View Apartments, as well as the speed enforcement on the arterios. So that concludes comments from staff. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Roger. And again, my apologies. Even though we've had city manager comments at the beginning now for a while. So let's move on to our presentations. Thank you. We have two presentations tonight for two individuals that are really special in our community. In no particular order, they're both very special, but I will start with Beth GENDREAU. Beth has been a resident of this community for over 36 years, since her marriage to her husband, Scott. They have three wonderful children, Kyle, Kelly, and Candace. They all attended Downey schools. Beth has been an employee at Downey Unified School District for many years. She's in the food service department and serves on the district parent advisory committee. In 2021, Beth was designated as the employee of the year for the district's food service department. And upon receiving that distinction, Beth was also advanced for recognition to Los Angeles County Office of Education, which represents 80 school districts. And she also received the Employee of the Year in this category. What makes Beth a special individual is that she has been a volunteer in our community for 26 years. Beginning when her children started school, she joined PTA, and then Beth immediately took on a vice president position. Since then, Beth has held many different positions within PTA at many different schools. Moreover, she continues to support PTA even through her youngest daughter, Candace, who graduated from Warren High School in 2015. Currently, Beth serves on 4 PTA boards. She is involved with animal rescue through her daughter's Kelly Animal Rescue organization that she founded 15 years ago. And reflecting her passion for helping animals, she is also the Humane Society's California district leader for the 64th Congressional District. Beth also serves in our city's Public Works Committee, representing District 2, and she has been in that appointment since 2015. Beth is also a member of the Downey Coordinating Council, where she has held the position of treasurer for the past 10 years, and she's also a member of the Greater Downey Clergy Council. What also makes Beth so remarkable is that she volunteers as the operations manager for Food Help. And this is a ministry of the Downey First Christian Church, which is a food distribution program that I'm sure many of us here in Downey are very familiar with. They provide food to 250 to 300 families each and every Saturday, rain or shine. In this role, Beth oversees all aspects of the program, from working with the drivers to securing the donor locations, volunteer coordination, and working with other organizations to help relieve food insecurity. And this was so critical. It always is critical, but it became more impactful, especially during the pandemic, where the numbers just triple. And in 2015, Beth was awarded Woman of the Year from the 32nd Senate District in the area for her nonprofit efforts. Beth, her quiet disposition may come across as, this is such a nice lady. She's a firecracker. She is everywhere, and one of the great things that makes her and people that I have recognized with the Mayor's Legacy Award is all of these different things that I mentioned. They take time and they take commitment and they take dedication, and she doesn't get paid a dime to do any of these things. She really does it for the love of community, serving families to make sure that they don't go hungry, making sure she serves on public works so that there is voice and representation from District 2. And with that, I would like BETH GENDREAU to come up, please. Can we give her a round of applause? Well, Beth, I will read this. This is the Mayor's Legacy Award and is presented to BETH GENDREAU on behalf of the citizens of Downey in recognition for your outstanding citizenship and activities enhancing the community of Downey. Your exemplary efforts and accomplishments have been of enormous value to our community and have helped to further the common goal of making our city a better place for all. Thank you, Beth, for being a champion for what is good and what is honorable in our community. Thank you so much. And this is the Mayor's Challenge Point. She's doing great work. Mr. Herman, I will ask you to please bring it down, okay? And this is the pin. And would you like to say a few words before we have your family come up for photos?
I just want to say thank you very much for the honor. I just really appreciate it. I love what I do. I love serving the community in many ways, and thank you very much for the recognition. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Give him a round of applause, please. The next individual that I have here is someone who has a heart of gold and has been in this community for many, many years. Greg Welch considers his life's occupation as a ministry of service, and it certainly shows. Craig is the chaplain to our Downey Police Department, and together with his wife, Barbara Risher Welch, serves the Downey community through their business, Risher Mortuary, which they have also dedicated as a ministry to the bereaved. Greg travels as a missionary with Calvary Chapel Downey and as a chaplain with Billy Graham's Rapid Response Team, providing comfort and assistance to the less fortunate throughout the world. This man has such a heart for honoring our veterans. I think our veterans, many of you here know Greg. He is part of the Patriot Guard Riders. He rides his Harley for local military funerals. And every Memorial Day, he participates in Run for the Wall motorcycle rally, where thousands of riders travel from California to the Vietnam Veterans War Memorial in Washington, D.C. on their motorcycles, on his Harley, from California to D.C. to honor the fallen heroes and bring awareness to those who never made it home. It's a heart and a love for our brothers and sisters who have served, who didn't come back, but also Greg's demeanor and his ability to provide love and comfort to those that are deeply hurting is something that it's a gift. And the Lord has used them in a very special way. It's always the last call that a family member wants to receive when a loved one has tragically died in a car accident or any other way. And as a chaplain, providing that comfort and providing that strength is something very special that Greg provides. He and his wife Barbara have provided that comfort to thousands of families, and I know that even my family has been touched and very blessed by them, particularly also during the COVID-19 pandemic, when things were very ugly everywhere, and coroner's offices and people were really trying to get a hold of their loved ones. And Greg and his wife Barbara were there to provide that love and comfort and alleviate the complexities of those situations. Currently, Greg sits on the boards of many organizations here in Downey, and he serves them with great pride. And he sits on the board for the Downey Chamber of Commerce, Prison Ministries of America. He also has served on the Greater Downey Clergy Council, the Downey Coordinating Council. He's past president of the Rotary Club. And if those of you Rotarians know what the motto is, service above self. And that is what also is symbolic with the Welch family, with Greg, service above self. He was recently, as past president of Rotary Club, he was recently honored as Volunteer of the Year. And it gives me really great pleasure to say we are so grateful for Greg and Barb and for what you do to this community and how you help. And Greg, last Christmas time, when our community was suffering from that fire and that family was impacted in our community, this was right around Christmas time. And I happened to be traveling out of state, and I received a call from our interim city manager at the time. Greg immediately mobilized the troops, and again, it was right around Christmas time. And this family, the apartment was engulfed in flames, and a couple of members perished in that apartment fire. But Greg was immediately ready to get donations, not just from Rotarians, but also did a friendly competition with my Kiwanians, and to really bless that family and help them through that grieving process. So with that, I would like to please give a round of applause to Greg Welch for receiving the Mayor's Legacy Award. And with this, the Mayor's Legacy Award is hereby presented to Greg Welch on behalf of the citizens of Downey in recognition of your outstanding citizenship and activities enhancing the community of Downey. Your exemplary efforts and accomplishments have been of enormous value to our community and have helped to further the common goal of making our city a better place for all. Thank you, Greg, for being a champion for what is good and honorable in our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. This is the challenge coin that I will present to you. It's gotta go like this. Here's the pin. And what a valuable member, chaplain you are to our Downey PD. And we need more men like you. I will lead you to say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's truly an honor to be part of this city. Service is scriptural. In a rather lively conversation in the book of Matthew, the apostles were arguing on who of them would be the greatest. And Jesus said, the greatest among you will be a servant. Mahatma Gandhi took that and ran with it and said, in order to find yourself, you must lose yourself in service to others. But more importantly, Dr. King said, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to be a servant. He said, you don't have to understand Newton's second law of thermodynamics to be a servant. All you need is a heart full of grace. So my wife and I are blessed. We also know that in the book of Colossians, Jesus says, it doesn't matter what you do. And we further that with, we do a scholarship for all the Downey kids called the Caring for Others Scholarship. And it's not a scholarship for people to become funeral directors. It's a scholarship we give to people that care for others. And from the book of Colossians, I paraphrase it and say, you can be a butcher, a baker, or a candlestick maker. It doesn't matter as long as you do for others. And what we do for the vets, and the vets, what they have done for us is never to be forgotten. We serve the veterans under the bridge because many of our vets come back and they have nowhere to go. And they perish living under a bridge. And Jesus said, that which you've done to the least of these, you've done unto me. So thank you, vets. Thank you, Downey. Thank you, Mayor. Thank God. Blessings.
Okay, moving on with our agenda this evening. And again, congratulations to both Beth GENDREAU and her family, as well as our DPD chaplain, Greg Welch, and his family. I will now take public comment on agenda, consent, and non-agenda items. If you didn't receive a number card, please go to the back of the room or see our city clerk so that you are issued a number card. And before we begin the public comment period, I have to remind members of our audience that the city's meeting municipal rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disturbs, disrupts, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Copies of the meeting rules are located in the back of the room. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules and cause a disruption will receive one warning and then may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under municipal code or citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. The City of Downey acknowledges the right of the public to address issues that are within Downey's jurisdiction and invites the public to do so during the City Council meeting. However, this right must be balanced with the need of the City Council to conduct the public business in a fair and efficient manner, free from disruption or disturbance. We expect that everyone who participates in this evening's meeting, from the members of the council here on the dais, to staff, to the members of the public in attendance, do so with respect and dignity. Please refrain from using profanity, name-calling, or behaving in a way that disrupts this meeting. This includes yelling, whistling, booing, screaming, and any other outburst that disrupts or disturbs the meeting. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts persons who are addressing the city council. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts council members while they are speaking. And any other conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of this business meeting. Attacks of a personal nature on city staff or city council members that have no connection to agenda items or non-agenda items. I remind speakers that your comments must be addressed to me directly and not to any other council member, city staff, or the audience. City Clerk, did we receive any written correspondence to be submitted into the record?
We did not, Mayor.
Okay, at this time, how many speakers do we have?
We have 16.
Yes, thank you. We will have 2 minutes per speaker tonight based on the number of comments that are here or the number of individuals that wish to speak. And once again, I remind all speakers, you must remain seated until your number is called. Whoever has number 1. Thank you, BC.
Two minutes. I get lose a minute. Okay. Well, it's all been feel good, happy talk again, but reality is going to set in. If we are so sincere about our supporting of our police department, we should add 19 more officers to our police department. That's a clear and concise number, 19, not code enforcement, not cameras, 19 officers. We definitely need them. I also want to talk about the candidates that are running, Mayor. Apparently I live in District 3 still, but we have candidates running and they claim to be friends of mom and pop stores. But where were they when you, Mayor, and the previous mayor were locking down the businesses? Where were they? Were they supporting the mask mandates? Were they supporting the poison shot vaccines? Were they supporting the death ventilating machines that you would put people on? Where were they? I think they need to come here and stand up and tell us where they were. And where were you, Mayor? Where were you? You were locking us down, destroying those mom and pop shops. You were destroying them. And then you try to act like you were helping by moving them out on the sidewalk. That is not what happened. You destroyed them. And it was a sad show. And that's where you and the previous mayor led us, to the lockdowns, to the tyranny that you foisted upon us. And where were you and people in the Chamber of Commerce and the council? You weren't standing up against that tyranny. All of you worked at Kaiser, rolled up your sleeves and showed us on social media to take the shots. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Speaker number 2 may come up.
Can I go a little later? Is that okay? Can I give my spot to someone else and go a little later? I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm new at this.
Okay. We'll come back to you. Okay, sounds good. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Margie Taprisi.
Oh, wait for the time.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, no, you go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Good evening. My name is Margie Taprisi, and I represent Wood Creek Apartments here on right around the corner. And we've been having an issue. I've been giving rounds and rounds since December of 2022. So briefly, what happened is that my property, which has 198 units, had massive backups. The plumbing was backing up all the time. This has started in December. We didn't know what was the cause of it. So in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, We were calling the plumbers. We were charged arm and a leg. Until one night, we couldn't unclog it. So I was in the rental office myself with the manager all the way through the morning, called about 30 plumbers. We found out our main drain line is actually broken. Then later we found out the city hired someone and they broke our line by placing a fiber optic on top of our drain line. I have an email from your engineer, Mr. Norris, taking responsibility. We spent $52,000. And to this date, I haven't received a penny. Instead, I received this letter rejecting my claim and telling me to go to talk to the electrician that the city hired. I talked to your city manager last Thursday. He promised me he's gonna get with that and get back to me. Instead, the same day, this person wrote me a rejection letter. I don't think this is right. So I have all the receipt, I submitted it. I had to wait through July because the city hired someone to come and remove. They had the wrong person or company, so I had to hire 2 plumbers, a standby. Why? Anyway, my 2 minutes, but $52,000, and it's almost been a year. I think that's very unfair.
Thank you, Margie. Thank you. I know your time is up. I know our city manager is, would you like to respond?
Yeah, we have the claim, and it's going through the process. As been referred to the what looks like it might be the responsible party for final review. So it is working through the process to be paid.
Thank you, Margie.
We have, there is legal representation that she's hired, and so we've been coordinating with their legal representative
Got
at
it.
this point. So.
Okay. Thank you, Margie. We are. Thank you for making us aware. City manager is aware, and it's going through the process. Thank you. And I know I can't have this back and forth. Your time is up. Thank you. Thank you. Speaker number 3.
Hello, Mayor.
Good evening.
My name is Adam Gutierrez. I live at 7833 Gainford Street. I was actually watering my grass today, and your husband came by passing out pamphlets, and I voiced a concern to him, which was speed bumps, and he told me to come here, so here I am. There's an elementary school behind me, and we have a lot of kids that walk in front of my home, and there's just a lot of speeders that pass by my block. And about less than a year ago, a car actually flipped over.
Is that Gallatin?
No, on Gainford Street.
Okay.
And less than a year.
No, but I'm saying the elementary school.
Is it Price Elementary?
Price.
Yeah. And a car flipped over while I was in front of my home. It flipped over right in front of my house. I've called about 4 times asking for speed bumps, some type of, speed limit, whatever. So I have 3 children, so my kids can't play in the front yard because I'm afraid, the car is speeding. They don't ride their bikes or anything like that because I'm worried for their safety. So that's one of my concerns. Another concern of mine is streetlights. My block is very dark on Gainford Street, and I've been noticing a lot of more homeless around CVS. I've gotten my car broken into about 4 times in the past year. I don't even call the cops because there's really no point. So yes, those are my concerns, is speed bumps on my block and city lights. My block is completely black at night. And so if there's anything you guys can do, that would be great. And thank you for your time.
I will, yes, city manager.
Yeah, I'll ask the Public Works Director to connect with the gentleman here so we can talk about those issues.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Speaker number 4 may come up.
Hi, Mayor.
Hello, Gabe.
Council and staff and Mayor Fermetta, my name is Gabriel Enamorado. I am a local business owner and homeowner at 9515 Guatemala Avenue. I am here to speak on Agenda Item 8, the Spend Local campaign. In 2014, the city commissioned my design studio to develop the City of Downey's brand identity. This included the development of the Orange D logo and the Discover Downey initiative. Over a 6-month period, we collaborated with City Council, city staff, and stakeholders to identify the key features and highlights of our city to develop a strong brand identity. Discover Downey is a community development initiative meant to effectively promote Downey as a unique place to live, work, and play by centralizing community-wide events, attractions, shopping, and dining options through a robust website and social media presence. Through 2016, my studio worked with the city developing events, marketing, infrastructure design, and the stationery you all use today. However, after concluding our services, the city did not carry through with Discover Downey's intended goals, resulting in the outcome we see, both the city and the Discover Downey social media accounts posting the same content. I commend city staff for developing the Spend Local campaign. A concerted effort from the city to promote its local businesses and organizations is long overdue. However, I would recommend against a rebranding of Discover Downey to Spend Local. Discover Downey was always meant to accomplish the goals outlined in the Spend Local campaign. The Discover Downey Instagram and Facebook was supposed to feature content focused on history, culture, and economic development, including local business features and upcoming events. The term discover considers a charming aspect of Downey that lifelong residents know all too well, that there is always something new to discover in our city, whether it be its history, culture, events, or a new place to dine. I would recommend that staff and council consider Spend Local as a one-time or annual campaign within the Discover Downey initiative. I would also recommend significantly boosting the budget for this effort. Creating and sustaining a successful community engagement platform requires a long-term investment. $1,000 would have a nominal impact.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Speaker number 6 may come up. Hello. Oh, hang on a minute. Can you bring down the microphone so we can hear you?
Hello.
Perfect.
My name's Alexandra Beamer. I just have a few things that I want to kind of talk about. One, the homeless population on Firestone by Rick's Motel is getting ridiculous. There's so many, they're just doing drugs on the street at this point, just laying out, and it's just crazy to see. Another thing, the abortion clinic over on Firestone Boulevard, do we have to have that out here? You know, I don't know. Maybe they can change some of their services. I mean, it's free choice, but maybe not in Downey. All that happened. Another thing, on a lighter note, I'm the chairperson or the chairman of the Rio San Gabriel School Site Council. We desperately need a crossing guard, and they wanted me to kind of ask you lovely people for that. And also, maybe we can bring DARE back and like send it to the middle schools. It's getting kind of out of hand. I have a son who goes to Doty and a daughter who attends Rio, and there just needs to be more intervention, I feel, for the kids, less gender identity stuff and more just, no offense, I'm sorry, less of that, but more of just, you know, trying to show good examples of what not to do. I don't know. It's just getting out of control. Wow, what? Hush, you guys are so immature. Okay, anyways, so yeah, I just really feel like we should do more to guide our children in making the right decisions, giving better examples, you know, being respectful. And yeah, so that's all I had to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And if I may, this is your first warning. We said no booing or whistling or as people are speaking. This is your first and only warning. In regards to, I just want to make a comment regarding this. The city has a close partnership and relationship with our school district. We have a City Downey Unified School District Task Force that Councilmember Sosa and I are a part of. And we can certainly bring these concerns to their attention. But I do want to make sure the community knows, even though Downey does have its own school district, we're completely separate bodies and we are governed completely differently. But thank you for your comment. Speaker number 6 may come up. I'm sorry, speaker number 7.
Good evening, City Council and City Mayor. My name is Claudia Zoll. I'm Director of Outreach with Veterans Stand Together, and I have with me Mr. Nick Velez, veteran and owner of Bastard's Canteen. At Veterans Stand Together, we are dedicated to empowering veterans, helping them discover purpose and sense of belonging in the nation they've defended. Together, we will make a brighter future where veterans thrive and find their rightful place in the heart of our community. As we know, veterans face a lot of problems, such as homelessness, lack of support network, unemployment, mental health, and unfortunately, veteran suicide. Did you know that there are over 33,000 homeless veterans nationally? And in 2020, there was over 6,000 veterans that took their own lives. This was an average of 16.8 a day. How does Veterans Stand Together tackle this problem? By offering solutions, such as vocational training, job placement, peer-to-peer support, housing resources. And at Veterans Stand Together, we raise funds to be able to provide these services to our veteran communities. So we've partnered up with a local disabled veteran-owned business here in the heart of downtown Downey, Bastard's American Canteen, to raise funds for our nonprofit organization and to celebrate both the United States Marine Corps 248th birthday and Veterans Day. We believe that this event will be very impactful for the city of Downey.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me here today. Again, my name is Nick Velez, veteran, USMC veteran and owner of Bastard's Canteen. We want to do a couple things here. One, celebrate the Marine Corps birthday. We've been celebrating the Marine Corps birthday for the past 11 years here in downtown Downey. We did ask for a bigger footprint this year, and we also are asking the council and the mayor to consider waiving a partial, if not full amount of the fees associated with hosting the event. Again, this event is 100% nonprofit organization orientated, and it'll be supporting Veterans Stand Together this year. Again, thank you for your time. Semper Fi.
Thank you. And Claudia, would you please leave your contact information here with our city clerk? Thank you. Speaker number 7 may come up. Number 8. Oh, 7 and 8?
I took a number.
Oh, then you had 2 minutes as well. Okay. So you each have 2 minutes. So one was 7, the other one 8. Okay.
All right, perfect. All right, so again, my name is Nicholas Velez. I'm the owner and operator here at Bastard's Canteen here in beautiful city of Downey. We've been here for about 11 years now. Worked with many of you that sit on the council. Again, this event is a very veteran-centric event. It's catered not only to veterans and Marines, but also to the community. I'd like to invite everyone in the audience to join us for our Marine Corps birthday, which celebrates the 248th Marine Corps birthday celebration. The day is full of events. We have veteran vendors there. These veteran vendors are all veteran-owned, veteran-operated. There's veteran resources from the Vet Center, the VA, Semper Fi Fund, Save the Brave, our nonprofit, and then Veterans Stand Together that focuses on vocational training, homeless veterans, mental health, and most importantly, one of my favorite aspects that they do and they focus on is getting veterans jobs. Currently, we are working with Veterans Stand Together at Bastard's Canteen, and we're hosting a mixology program. So this is a mixology program catered to veterans. There's 10 veterans that just graduated last week. There's 6 veterans in this week's cohort. So after they graduate, we plan to empower them by hiring them at Bastard's Canteen. So again, if you guys want to be a part of our amazing event, November 10th, save the date. I invite everyone in the staff and the audience to join us and support our veteran nonprofit, Veterans Stand Together. And that's all I got for you guys. Again, I'd love for you guys to consider waiving the waiving the fees associated with hosting this event. As for every dollar that we raise, we want to donate back to Veterans Stand Together. Again, thank you guys. Semper Fi.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. Speaker number 9 may come up.
Lee Squire, son, nephew, World War II, Vietnam veterans of Downey, death before dishonor. Mayor and City Council, First Amendment freedoms. Hatred against the Jews in Israel and America has got to stop. We baby boomers, we are the children of World War II and we are the children of the Holocaust. We grew up during the Civil Rights Movement and the Vietnam War. We of all faiths must not allow hatred of another faith whose foundation is the Holy Bible, the Jewish people. This is an attack upon the First Amendment freedoms of the U.S. Constitution. This brings dishonor to the World War II veterans who were the liberators of the Jews and others from Nazi hatred and tyranny, and what is also known as the final solution, the extermination of the Jews in the world. Where are the houses of worship whose foundation is the Holy Bible, which is the book of the Jews? Where are the veterans organizations like American Legion, whose motto was, for God and country, going to the Jewish temples across America to show unity of purpose and unity of the community? It brings sadness to see a Downey police vehicle in front of the Downey Jewish Temple. I am asking we, the people of Downey, to show unity of community by showing support for the Jews in Downey and the Downey Jewish Temple. God bless the nation of Israel. God bless America. God bless the military veterans and their families, and God bless local policing and their families. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Speaker number 10 may come up.
Ultrasound pictures have even softened the hearts of the most calloused abortionists and abortion advocates. Dr. Bernard Nathanson, a founder of the so-called National Abortion Rights Action League, became a pro-life champion and advocate for the unborn after seeing his first ultrasound. Similarly, Abby Johnson quit her job as a Planned Parenthood abortion clinic director after seeing an abortion on an ultrasound screen. Her transformation into an outspoken pro-life advocate was portrayed in the 2019 film Unplanned. These testimonies demonstrate why it's so important that pro-lifers fight for life-saving bills like the Ultrasound-Informed Consent Act, Bloom insisted. Bloom thanked members for their activism, saying, "The life-changing power of the ultrasound pictures explains why abortion advocates hate them so intensely." www.prolifealliance.com. Concerning the little babies that are killed by abortion in America, let it not be said that there was no voice raised in their defense.
Thank you for that. Speaker number 11 may come up.
Hello, my fellow Downey residents and Americans. My name is Ramon Casas Jr., and I'm running for Downey City Council District 1 as a conservative to protect the people of Downey during these times of high crime and to make our city a family-friendly environment. We all need to keep Downey a safe place to raise our families in. I have a beautiful 3-year-old daughter named Olivia now, and I'm creating a world for her that is safe and sustainable. Life is all about preservation, maintenance, and growth. As our American Pledge of Allegiance states, we are one nation under God. Therefore, I'm working and fighting for every Downey resident and American. Currently, I live a life of public service as an English teacher at St. John Bosco High School. I also have a college degree from the University of Southern California in policy, city planning, and city management. I'm the most qualified and best person for this Downey City Council position. Throughout my campaign, I've been advocating my Downey Revitalization Plan. It's a 7-point plan that focuses on 7 various items. One being safety first, increase police officers, firefighters, careers in public safety. People say, how are you going to do this? Well, we need to work with the best, the police chief, the fire chief. They know more than I do, but we have to communicate with them to see what they need and then accommodate them. Also, infrastructure in downtown Downey. We need to redevelop various structures and develop new structures as well. We could incorporate public and private equity partnerships. I know a guy named Gabe Guerrero who would help with this. We need, number 3, conservative family values. Number 4, community events, such as the annual USA 4th of July Parade and Fest. I'd like to start that. Build a better economy, help the transits to homeless, and
Thank you for that. Thank you. Speaker number 12 may come up.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Bradley and staff, good evening.
Good evening.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to share with you some comments about my homeland. God bless America, the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her to the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America. It's my home, sweet home. God bless America. It's my home, my sweet home. It ends my comments. I yield my time back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Lacy. Good evening, Mr. Cortez.
13.
Yes, number 13.
Okay, so I would also like to comment on the elections. I think, the candidates, okay, so if you're living in District 3 or in District 1, you basically have a choice. Like, do you want to live in a city that is run by Mr. Trujillo, or do you want like something a little bit not that? So right, so there's this debate about, like, in District 3, people are saying, oh, the Gospe is saying, oh, I'm not even endorsed by him. Hello, like, it's all the same people. So like, I don't understand why people say that, oh, he's different and independent. No, that is not the case. So obviously there's this, so they both want to be on there. So in District 1, you have Mr. Ortiz, and Mr. Ortiz seems like a nice guy, but it's pretty obvious. I mean, we just heard from one of the other candidates in that district, and he has like a plan, like 7 points, and I think that's pretty cool. It shows that he is engaged with the process, and he's inviting the community to engage him in the process. That's good. Contrasted with Mr. Ortiz, who has like no policy other than just like some vague statements about quote, public safety. In reality, he's just waiting because he just wants to see himself up there. And up there, he's just going to do whatever Mr. Trujillo says, even though he says that, oh, I don't agree with him all the time. Hell yeah, yeah, it's like, oh, what do you prefer? You know, someone prefer some kind of food or another kind of food. You know, he says nothing of substance. So that's why I really think that people should think twice about those two candidates. Like, it's time to vote for the people that actually come on up here. I appreciate Mr. Casas and Ms. Pemberton who come up here and engage like constituents instead of just waiting around to be anointed the next one up there. So down with that, up with change.
Thank you for that. Speaker number 14 may come up. Nobody has number card 14?
In case brief, in the understanding of US 562-443, 2011, Snyder versus Phelps, thank God for IEDs, priests rape boys, and simplify faggots, God hates you. Now, based on my comment under 42 U.S.C. 1983 and the United States versus Bagdasarian and Brandenburg versus Ohio, a dirty nigger is not offensive. It is simply a case brief based on a supreme ruling on how dirty niggers justify the ripping off the public and not providing, for example,
Mr. Speaker, through the office of the mayor, this is a warning under the Brown Act because your comments are disruptive.
Right now. I'm on non-agenda fucking public comment, you fucking idiot.
Your comments have no relation to agenda items or city business, and therefore are disruptive. So this is your warning under the Brown Act. Thank you. Please.
All right, let me read it into the record since I can't say it politely to you. U.S. Supreme Court, Brandenburg versus Ohio, U.S. 395, 444, 1969, my non-agenda public comment, and BANAC 52.1, I'm not going to take threats from a fucking moron. How far is a nigger going to? Yeah, this is what we're going to do to the niggers, a dirty nigger. Send the Jews back to Israel. Save America. Let's go back to constitutional betterment. Bury the niggers. We intend to do our part.
Mr. Speaker, you've been warned. You will now be cut off the mic, please. And if you don't cease your behavior, we will be removed. Thank you very much. You've been warned.
I got 45 seconds. You continue to interrupt me while I got on the floor.
Mr. Speaker, you've been warned. Your conduct
You're
has
just
not
a
ceased.
stupid
So under the Brown Act,
God hates you. You're going
you
to
may be
hell.
removed from these
Up
proceedings.
your ass.
Thank you.
With homosexuality, Snyder versus
We're going to go ahead and clear the chambers at this point. We're going to get up. We're going on a break. We're going to clear the chambers. Good evening. We are back after a brief recess, and it is unfortunate that these things have to happen. I will ask our city attorney to comment on what just took place and why it took place.
Mayor, council, and members of the public, the most recent speaker was warned under the authority given to the city council and the mayor under the Brown Act, which allows city councils to warn speakers who engage in conduct that is disruptive of the city business. Comments and attacks of a personal nature that have no connection with city business interrupt and impede the orderly progress of city council meetings and therefore are considered disruptive under the Brown Act and are grounds for a warning to a speaker who engages in such conduct. If the speaker continues such conduct, they are then subject to removal. The speaker who just spoke was subject to that removal because he was warned once and continued to engage in disruptive behavior. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, City Attorney. We appreciate your work, and we will continue to conduct city business in a manner that is not disruptive to what we are trying to accomplish here this evening. And the one warning is set. If there is continuous disruption, you will be removed. Speaker number 15.
Okay, my name is John Wilhite again. I live at 11014 Elmcroft Downey Avenue. Downey, of course, obviously. But y'all didn't expect to see Santa standing up here at the podium. On a lighter note, I want to do my annual thank you to the Downey Fire. I can't talk to them, but they know I'm here, for saving my life almost 13 years ago now. I also want to comment that I know that our chief is skipping town or whatever you want to call it, retiring. I hope that you guys hire, preferably within the department. If not, Montebello has a really good lieutenant that I know would like to be chief. Monrovia has good people. I just don't want LAPD or LA County Sheriff because we're not LA County, we're not LAPD. We deserve a small town police chief that is worth the money that we pay. I can't be grateful enough. I know I'm not living in fantasy land. No council's perfect, no city's perfect. We all have our trash and we all have our good side. So, like I said, I'm grateful for you guys. And I'm gonna take a 2-minute this time because I chicken out at 30 seconds. So, but I'm just grateful for the residents of Downey. I'm grateful for the veterans. I'm a veteran myself. I don't know how many more of these I'll be able to come to. Like I said, I'm stage 4 and I'm just gonna plug along until we finally go. But I'm grateful for living in Downey. I've been here over 33 years. And I really have no complaints. I wish I could think of one. I wish I could come up here and make an ass of myself and start screaming and ranting and raving and, looking stupid. But my wife would see that and I'd be in worse shape than being arrested by them. So I'm grateful for the council. You guys aren't perfect. You have a crappy job sometimes and you make the best of what you can do. And I thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Speaker number 16 may come up now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juan Martinez. I am the delegate of the 64th District. I represent 7 cities: Bell Gardens, Cudahy, Downey, Norwalk, South Whittier, and La Mirada. So my part is to represent the community members here. To start off, the ad hoc committee on number 9 should not be ad hoc. It should be transparent, open to the Brown Act, and open to the public. Next is booing and cheering. If people can cheer, then they can boo. If you are just going to target people who disagree with you, then you are engaging in discrimination, and that is unlawful, and a lawsuit will follow you briefly. Next, John Funk is saying that John Funk does not have the authority to issue warnings. He is a city attorney. Warnings are issued by the chair. It is not within his contract nor his duties to do so. So I will not, and nor will the people, recognize any of his warnings which are not within his ability to issue. he is violating the people's rights by partaking in a act that is not within his contract. You are violating Herman's rights. You've been sued in the past and you've lost, and you are about to get sued again. And it's because this is repetitive, a repetitive pattern of behavior from your discrimination and targeting of constituents that I am sure that lawsuit will lead to a bigger reprimand on this city. I also want to say that if you're going to comment on Palestine, Ms. Mayor, I would be more than happy to educate you since you're pro-Israel. Genocide, apartheid, using white phosphorus, all these collective punishment war crimes on the Palestinian people, that is not acceptable. And when you endorse Israel, you're endorsing genocide and war crimes. So once again, what you just did, you partook in an illegal action by removing someone who was reading into the record documents from a court. So you will get written up, John Funk. There will be a lawsuit on the city, and you clowns will learn to follow the rules.
Are there any other speakers that have not given the opportunity to speak at this point? Seeing none, I will make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. Now moving on to consent calendar. Now is the time for consent calendar items. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from an item?
Madam Mayor, I need to make a correction to the minutes of August 22nd, 2023, page 7, referring to City Manager Brad. It was meant to read City Manager Bradley.
Madam
Thank
Mayor,
you for that.
I need to abstain from item number 1, August 22nd minutes. I wasn't present. Also, I'd like to pull item number 6 for discussion.
Okay, so August 21st, and then Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo.
August 22nd.
Excuse me, August 22nd.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have to recuse myself from item number 1, approval of the minutes, as I was absent on October 10th for that regular meeting closed session. I also have to abstain from item number 6, which I understand Councilmember Sosa is pulling, as I own property that's very close, within 500 feet to this event.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo. And I need to abstain from the minutes of September 12th. It was a regular meeting, open session, as I was absent. And so we've got August 22nd, regular meeting, open session for Councilmember Sosa, as well as abstention from Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo on October 10th, regular meeting, closed session. And the consent calendar, he is recusing himself from item number 6, which Councilmember Sosa is also pulling for discussion. Can I have a motion in a second to approve the rest of the consent calendar?
I make a motion.
Second.
Please vote.
The consent calendar is approved with Councilmember Sosa abstaining from item number 1, meeting minutes of August 22nd. Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo abstaining from item number 1, October 10 regular meeting minutes. Mayor Frometa abstaining from item number 1, September 12 regular meeting minutes. And Councilmember Sosa pulling item number 6 for separate discussion.
Okay, having voted, Councilmember Sosa, the floor is yours on item number 6.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
I'll have to step outside.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So with respect to the event for the Marine Corps birthday, 248th birthday, and veteran event, I understand that there's several thousand people that attend this meeting every year. I know that a couple of veterans did come up and speak and did request for us to consider any type of fee waiver. And again, we've discussed this before. I'm not sure when this started, but they certainly don't want to stop with the veterans. Veterans, to me, it should be at the top of the list. And I think we should consider at least waiving some fees to help them move that event along, as it's a nonprofit and dollars are donated back to veterans programs. So I think we should consider that.
And do you have a specific amount that you are looking at? I mean, looking at the report, the total is $9,238. That's the final cost, subject, the final calculation based on labor and materials that are expected. But also, it looks like, and I agree with you, Councilmember Sosa. I think we want to support our veterans and recognize our veterans. For those of you that perhaps were not here, 2 weeks ago, during our last meeting, we took a position that the city can no longer continue to fund every event that comes for a waiving of fees. This is not going to continue to be sustainable. And in this particular case, again, we get this request. We love our veterans and we appreciate their sacrifice as well as their families. At the same time, I do see that they do have a remaining balance of $2,383 from last year's event. And last year's event, they also had a carryover balance from the year prior. And so last year, we cleaned the slate. We absorbed the remaining balance they had. And we also, if I'm not mistaken, we also helped them cover some of the fees. And City Manager, I will defer to you for additional.
Bonnie, do you know the answer to the account balance from last year? What was it cleared?
Yeah, for the event last year, there was a balance, yes, as stated, for about approximately $2,400 that we still haven't received payment for. As of this time, there was no direction on whether or not we were going to clear that balance. Everything else has been paid related to the event for last year.
And so, but the question was, did we also cover some of the fees from last year's event?
No, so they did pay for everything else, and the remaining part was a $2,400 that we were waiting to be invoiced for coverage of PD's officer hours.
Okay.
Do we know what their total fees were for last year's event?
I don't have that dollar amount on the top of my head.
Well, I mean, like I said, I think it's worth having for open discussion. Again, I think our veterans should be at the top of the list, and we should consider, we have that discussion to consider waiving some of the fees.
Councilmember Horn, do you have any thoughts or comments on this item?
Well, if we went in and we took a reduction of the claim here, we definitely couldn't reduce because we have to have police there to do that. Where would we reduce the amount of support other than asking them to pay their past dues up front before we allow them to ask for additional support in the current year? So if we're looking to get paid from the past, we certainly couldn't reduce costs to the police department because that would leave us with a liability issue, which the city should not be held liable for. So if your concern is paying it before we give them back any type of future support, then that's the direction that we would go.
Well, it would be an in-kind donation. We wouldn't be reducing police officer hours or service.
Well,
Is
no.
that, is that what you're alluding to? Is that what you're?
Well, I'm just trying to find out if we're trying to do, in order to get repayment of a past due obligation, are we reducing the current, the current amount that we are leaving them with, or are we asking for payment up front before we give them additional assistance?
Yeah, we can certainly ask them to make that or clean up that balance, and then waive some of the current fees. Again, listen. We've talked about this plenty of times, and I don't know when the first off, we're not writing a check and we're not giving cold cash out. We're considering waiving fees, and I think this is an important event for our community. It's a well-organized event. Again, they have several thousand people there, and it recognizes our veterans. But I think we should consider waiving, I don't know, maybe at least half of the fees.
I think it's important before we move forward to ensure that there isn't an outstanding balance, a carryover balance.
There is absolutely an outstanding balance.
Right. So we, before proceeding, right, we need to make sure that our nonprofits, whether it's the veterans or any other, that there's no carryover balance, because again, we've seen this before. I feel like a bit of a deja vu, and again, this is not reflective of our commitment to veterans. But I also want for the nonprofit organizations to realize too, there is a process, and yes, there is cost, and if there's a balance, an outstanding balance that they have from a previous event, that needs to be cleared. And listen, there's so many organizations that are valuable in our community, and that I would like to make sure that they have their outstanding balance cleared. And are you proposing for a 50% reduction in their fees?
I am, contingent upon if they bring their balance clear. And again, I have to emphasize that we've waived fees, and I'm not sure when this started. Maybe a couple years back, we've waived fees for certain organizations for events. But I certainly don't want to stop with the veterans.
Agreed. Are you making a motion?
I'll make a motion to waive at least half the fees contingent upon if they bring their balance.
Okay, I'm good with that. I'll second that. If we can please vote.
The motion is approved with Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo abstaining from item number 6.
If we can let me get Mayor Pro Tem. Please. Okay, now it looks like we have 3 administrative reports this evening, actually 4 administrative reports. Item number 7 on the agenda is the salary range adjustment for position of Economic Development Director. This is that the City Council adopt resolution number 23-8199, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Downey establishing compensation for the position of Economic Development Director. City Manager Bradley, who's got the report?
Director McQueen will provide the report. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you this evening is a proposed resolution adjusting the salary range for the position of Economic Development Director. This action is taken as follow-up to the fiscal year 23-24 budget, which created this position and established the salary range. As part of Council's approval, Senate Bill 1436 requires local agencies to report out certain information prior to changing the compensation or benefits of executive positions. Under this law, a summary of the proposed changes must be presented in the open session portion of the meeting prior to voting. The current salary range for the position of Economic Development Director is $15,284.06 to $18,646.65 per month. The new adjusted monthly salary range for this position will be decreased to $12,167.11 to $14,843.87 per month to better align with the city's labor market and the scope of responsibilities for this position. All other pay and benefits for the position will remain in accordance with existing established resolutions. Approval of this action will result in a salary savings of approximately $42,000 per fiscal year. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, James. Just looking at the approval of this is a salary savings of $42,000. So I'm good with that. Council colleagues, do you have any questions, thoughts, comments? Can I get a motion in a second?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Okay, the next item is item number 8, the direction to staff regarding the Spend Local campaign, and that the staff initiate the Spend Local campaign. City Manager Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor. We'll have our management analyst, Ruby Pacon, provide the report.
Thank you for that.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The City of Downey is committed to supporting, sorry about that, there you go. The City of Downey is committed to supporting a diverse economy which benefits the whole city by promoting access to economic opportunities. This includes helping existing businesses to grow and creating a business climate that attracts new businesses. As part of ongoing efforts to support the local business community, in April 2023, City Council directed staff to explore the development of a Shop Local campaign. Tonight, City staff is presenting the Spend Local campaign for Council's consideration. The goal of the campaign is to promote a thriving and sustainable local economy while fostering a sense of pride and loyalty among the Downey community. The campaign will have a unique logo that will illustrate the program mission, increase local visibility, and create a connection with the business community. 4 options have been presented for council consideration. The Spend Local campaign includes 3 strategies. The first one is social media marketing. The city manages 2 social media accounts, the City of Downey and Discover Downey. Currently, both accounts have the same content. Staff will be developing content on both accounts, encouraging residents to shop local. However, staff proposes rebranding Discover Downey to be a business-focused platform. Second strategy is advertising. We'll be promoting the business-friendly initiative through the Downey Patriot, city website, Downey Orbit, and at city facilities. Lastly, community engagement, where we'll partner with the Chamber of Commerce to provide members with Spend Local decals and feature ribbon-cutting ceremonies and other business milestones on Discover Downey. And the next few slides will illustrate each strategy. So as I mentioned, social media, which is one of the strategies that we'll be undertaking. Here you have a sample post reflecting our rebranding of Discover Downey social media platforms to promote local businesses. And again, just clarifying that it will continue to be called Discover Downey, it's just being rebranded to focus on businesses. In addition, we'll create social media posts to inform residents about the benefits of spending locally. And here's a sample post. And we will also be reposting social media posts highlighting Downey businesses. And those posts can come from local publications, bloggers, other social media accounts that highlight Downey businesses. And here is a sample. It's LA Foodie Guy, and they highlighted La Taqueria. Another recent example would be the Press Telegram and their article for on the locker room. Upon rollout of the campaign, we would launch or undertake advertising efforts. So we would be creating a digital ad for the Downey Patriot to run about approximately a month. We would also create a banner for the city's website. an ad for the Downey Orbit, which is published quarterly, an ad for the City Hall lobby monitor, as well as signage at all our city facilities. Want to make sure that the campaign is visible throughout the city. Our third strategy is community engagement. And as I mentioned, we would be providing local businesses with spend local decals for display on their storefronts. And we would also be featuring ribbon cutting ceremonies and other business milestones on Discover Downey. With council approval, staff proposes to launch the campaign on December 1st. Approval will result in an estimated revenue decrease for campaign implementation in the amount of approximately $1,000. Tonight, we ask City Council to provide direction on the Spend Local campaign. That concludes my report. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Ruby. That was really good. Certainly, the focus on business and business growth in the shopping, the spending local is definitely a great idea. Can you again elaborate? We know why, when, and how Discover Downey came about, and certainly, and unfortunately, over the last several years, we haven't really been able to differentiate Discover Downey from our City of Downey government page, and so the same content is on both. But we're not rebranding Discover Downey. We are adding with this Spend Local campaign. Is that
or
correct?
more so like refocusing it to be business centered. So again, maybe rebranding wasn't the best word. It's refocusing on our businesses.
Yeah, Discover Downey is still going to be here. We're just using this as an opportunity to look at spending local as a separate element of that campaign. So we're not getting rid of the Discover Downey at all. It just is an opportunity to look at and focus in on how do we keep our revenues local, how do we spend local, and really this is a platform that as we look at it to highlight our business community. A lot of times traditionally cities have been a little bit skittish to put businesses on their social media and other locations as it looks like it's an endorsement. But really, that's really kind of what we want to do as part of economic development, is provide a platform where we can start highlighting what our new businesses, our current businesses, give them a little more exposure and give them a little leg up. Because we do have a lot of folks that come to city social media, city websites, where they can get exposure to those businesses and help them out economically. So that's the intent of this campaign. And again, we're not getting rid of the Discover Downey. We're just continuing to expand our role and focusing in on spending local.
Perfect. Comments, questions from council members?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Thank you, Ruby, for that presentation. So what was the original intent for Discover Downey?
Well, that's the assistant city manager to answer that question. Yeah.
So as part of the rebranding process back in 2016, so it was targeted more for events, cultural type
Arts
of
and culture.
experiences in the city, kind of like an attraction to the city and highlighting all the different kind of components. So it's kind of taking from that, initial concept of that, what we're trying to do here. Since that time, there has been changeover in the management of the Discover Downey, so city staff had taken it on a number of years ago, and out of kind of just timing with staff and simplicity, it was just reposting of city content. But now that, as the city manager mentioned, we're trying to refocus it to the business community, their events, their focus, activities, and also it could be elements of different events, arts and culture that the business community is putting on that can also attract individuals to the city of Downey, that is part of the economic development vibrancy of the city.
So with this, thank you for that, Vanya. So with this Spend Local campaign and focus, it doesn't necessarily take away from promoting the cultural and overall events. It's just, it happens to be more of a focus on promoting business.
That's correct. We're trying to separate it more from the city-focused social media platforms to have its own identifying social media platform that is businesses and also cultural city events or community events and arts in the city that also can be rounding out the economic development of the city.
Thank you.
And thank you. I think that's a great idea. Yes, we have a vibrant cultural community with a lot of events happening. But also as we look at and really hone in on the economic development arena and where we want to continue to expand Downey and look at the continuing growth of businesses. I think this is a really good opportunity to highlight that. Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo, you had some comments, questions.
Yes, I just wanted to point out that I believe we have to educate our residents on the fact that their tax money that they spend on gasoline, on groceries, retail and restaurants, that sales tax comes back to the city, right? I think for some people, we may have to illustrate that connection. Like, it's important for you to make it back to the city and fill your gas tank here because that tax money will go to provide services. So I think we should consider some education there, right? Like letting people know how does it benefit us? And it's really your taxes. We need that, right? And talk more about shop local or what's spend local. Yeah, I know other cities have live, shop, dine, and play in their city, right? So just reminding people that besides living here, we want you to shop here. And that means your groceries, your retail, right? To dine here in our restaurants and to play here, if you will. I guess that means, I don't know where people go play here in Downey, right? But give concrete examples for the public so that they know what type of activities we're expecting them to do, right? The hashtag development, I'm wondering if you develop hashtags. I would suggest one, which is hashtag keep your money in Downey. Hashtag reinvest in Downey. Something like that, because apparently when social media classes I've taken, hashtags are still in and you need to have like 5 or 6 constant ones that hopefully people are going to share. So the hashtags would be important. I don't know if Mr. Enamorado would be willing to sit down with you, Ruby, and just give you more history. I know he's a great resident, so feel free to reach out to him. He's been instrumental in that and can probably provide some good ideas. And I do like that Discover Downey, we're expanding it to be more than just our events, because there are a lot of things to do here. And I see our official government, social media. I would like to keep that very like business-like, like these are where our announcements are, whatnot. And this Discover Downey to be more fluid with not just history and culture, things to do, but also places to visit, right? Maybe give them the 5 places you should visit in Downey, or repost other articles about Downey. I can see where Discover Downey lends itself to that. So I think this is a great move for the city. Anything, I mean, listen, if I add $1,000, I think it seems kind of low, but if you can put together this plan and get it out to the residents, and hopefully that generates some more taxes, I think it'll be a successful move for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. No, and I like what you did right here with the logo samples in the back of it. Back to the council member's point, the spend local. When you spend locally, you contribute to the growth and prosperity of our community. And again, just reintegrating right that to a lot of us know that, but a lot of times people don't make that connection as well.
I could see a video of the mayor like pumping gas or buying her groceries and saying, listen, these are our tax dollars, right? Like, please drive. I personally make it a point to just try to get back to the city, the closest gas station in the border, the boundaries of the city, so that my tax money from my $100, because this gas is so expensive nowadays, will go to the city.
That is so true.
Right? So I could see our mayor in that video.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. In fact, I just used the gas station right next to Pyloon's this morning. But no, I think this is great opportunity, and I'm definitely very supportive of this. But also to the point, $1,000 seems a little low on this.
We'll continue to look at the program and try to expand as we go through. But this is sort of our initial kickoff and getting things going. And I think the assistant city manager has a comment.
No, I just wanted to build off what Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo had stated. So in attachment B, we did put some example post of educational. So it is not just, spend local, but explaining the importance why to spend local in Downey and how it serves the community. I just wanted to highlight back to one of the items for direction was the actual logo. I think it was one of the slides here. We just wanted to get council's direction on which logo you had preferred that we used for the campaign.
If I may, Madam Mayor.
Yes, please.
The two words, spend local, I'm just afraid that it's going to get lost in translation for some people. I don't know if we want to consider something more definite and clear like shop, dine, spend in Downey. Just a suggestion. But spend local, I mean, it speaks for itself, right? Spend local. Just a thought.
Any other thoughts?
Well, on that, I mean, I don't have an issue with spend local. I maybe shop local, but I would like to make sure that the D, the orange D, is incorporated in the logo.
Yes. And I just think, of course, the cleanest and that they're really nice logos. I think we all like the Doodalicious mural number 3, but I think just the logo number 1 that is just clean in its, it has our D and it's prominent. Number 4 is also nice. It's got that people that are familiar with the city see where this the city boundary sign is, but just something that is not, that just draws your attention to what it is as opposed to so much.
Do we believe that our residents recognize that D alone, that it means Downey, or should we make it clear for them and write out Downey? It's a question. And then also, I think that the chamber and the Downtown Business Association could be crucial partners in this and the rollout.
Yes, we have been communicating with the chamber on the rollout of the project.
And again, I know I don't want to crowd it, but if it's under the auspices, people are familiar with it, Discover Downey, right? That's already been very ingrained in the community. And so yes, the D, but Discover Downey, spend local, or Discover Downey, shop.
We'd be happy to integrate those two if you like.
Although, I mean, we will be distributing this in Downey platform, so it'll say Downey on top somewhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if not, I like the logo number 1.
I do too. So do we want to keep spend local or do we want to go with shop local? They go hand in hand. I mean, but
Spend. Gabe.
Spend encompasses more than just shopping and buying products. It actually includes spending money on local charities, events, etc.
And I apologize, we're not supposed to do this from the dais.
I like number 1.
Yeah, we're not supposed to interact this way, but thank you. And spend, okay, then spend local.
Yeah, I like number 1 as well. All I would ask is that somewhere in your post, you use the words shop and preferably dine, and mention things like, get your groceries in Downey and get your gasoline in Downey and retail in Downey.
We'll be very specific.
Descriptive,
Yeah.
yes.
Descriptive.
And that could be done in the body of the post.
And you know
Not
what,
a
and I think we can do, again, to kick it off, you said December 1st. We can have little reels with the current council doing different things. Somebody, getting their groceries somewhere, somebody pumping gas, somebody coming at, a restaurant. And I just think that, or a small owned business. But if we can just have, capture very brief reels of the council members doing that action we are unveiling or promoting, I think that sends a powerful message too.
We definitely want to kick it off, in a very exciting manner. So all those are wonderful ideas.
Well, if there's no other comments or questions.
We have the direction we need. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, do we need to make a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
And the motion is to accept, and also the logo samples, we like logo sample 1. All in favor? Let's go ahead and vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Okay, the item number 9 is the establishment of a Rancho South Campus Future Development Ad Hoc Committee. And this is that the City Council discussed forming a 2-member ad hoc committee to discuss and review the development opportunities for the Rancho South Campus. City Manager Bradley, would you like to provide a report on this?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just a few brief comments. So as the mayor indicated, at the previous city council meeting, there was a request to put together a report for the council to discuss the formation of a ad hoc committee for the Rancho South Campus with the intent of looking at development opportunities there at that site, which is currently owned by the county. I think the intent was to look at whether there are ways that the city could come up with its own vision for that location, and then go out and reach out to the county to see if there was some opportunities to push that kind of vision forward. With that, Mayor, at this meeting today, opportunity to discuss that. There isn't necessarily a need to take a formal action, but it's definitely possible to take a formal action in this meeting to form the ad hoc committee. This concludes staff's report, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you for that, City Manager Bradley. Certainly, it is important for us to move forward and really study what is the type of development opportunities that we are looking at for the Rancho South Campus. And at this time, I wish to appoint myself, and I would like an additional council member to be part of that ad hoc committee.
I nominate Hector Sosa.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo. I would gladly accept that since it's in my district, and I can ride I take my bike and ride that infamous bike lane on Old River School Road to get there. So, thank you. Yeah.
Someone is going to use it. Okay, then it will be myself and Councilmember Hector Sosa that will be, again, looking at this ad hoc committee for a period of time and study the development opportunities for the Rancho South Campus. Moving on to item number 10, upgrading the citywide paving efforts. The City Council received and filed the informational update regarding citywide paving efforts and discuss and provide any desired feedback on current and future paving efforts in the city. City Manager Bradley?
Thank you, Mayor. We'll have our Public Works Director provide the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Just tonight we're providing an update on our citywide paving efforts. Purpose is to give you an idea of what we've been doing since 2018, and also to take a look at our future paving plans, as we've had a lot of questions about kind of what we've done and where we're going. Just to give you some background, looking at our overall road network, we have approximately 214 miles. And in the last 10 years, going back to 2013, we've paved approximately 64% of those roads. But in the last 5 years, we've actually done 90 miles, which is a little over 40% of the roads in town. This increase is due to a couple of actions that our City Council took in 2021. Adopting the Pavement Management Analysis Report, which kind of looked at our overall road network and graded it out in a kind of fair to good category. As well as from that stemmed the 10-year residential street program, which you'll see those numbers on the map over there represent 10 residential zones, geographic zones in the city. The city was able to take, staff was able to take a big swing at getting a lot of this work done at a faster rate. Instead of doing it over a 10-year period, through a $30.5 million bond issuance backed by our Measure M and Measure R funds. The first phase of the residential program grouped 6 streets, and we were able to complete those 6 streets in a roughly 18-month period over the last year and a half. What's left is 4 residential zones in areas 5 and 6, which we currently have planned for this fiscal year, and areas 3 and 7, which are planned for shortly after in the summer of next year in fiscal year 24-25. Our goal is to have shovel-ready design for all 4 areas by the end of this fiscal year, and to bid and complete areas 5 and 6 in this fiscal year. One thing I wanted to point out is paving costs have gone up, increased significantly over the last 6 to 12 months. Between the 10-year period between 2013 and 2022, the city was able to pave 115 miles, and we spent about $53 million total on that effort. Last year, we completed 21 miles for $14 million. And when I talk about these numbers here, $457,000 per mile was what we were roughly spending during that 10-year period between 2013 and 2022. And in the last year, that went up to $592,000. And that's looking at all different types of treatments that the city does on its roads, from slurry seal, preventative maintenance, to our overlays, as well as full reconstruction, where we dig everything out and rebuild the road. Based on this increase, it's a possibility that there will be some additional funds required in this fiscal year, and staff plans on returning back once we receive those bids for the first bid in Area 5 to discuss and present solutions for addressing that. In addition to the residential paving areas, we have 5 CIP arterial projects. We have the Woodruff Avenue project, which council is very well aware of. We have the design near completion, and we have the construction costs funded for that project, and that will be completed in this fiscal year. We have 4 other CIP projects that have been in the works for the last few years on Bellflower Boulevard, Imperial Highway, Lakewood Boulevard, and Downey Avenue. All of those projects are funded for construction, and the goal is to complete get all of those projects in design and shovel-ready condition, so that we have that ability to apply for grants and other revenue opportunities as they come up. As I was saying, our current paving plans, looking at this year, areas 5 and area 6, really what we would be doing if everything works well is starting areas 3 and area 7 in the summer and fall of fiscal year 24-25, so that we can actually complete all 4 areas in calendar year 2024 and complete our 10-year residential area. If we're successful in that, we will have completed the 10 years in about 3.5 to 4 years. So again, the $30.5 million bond issuance was quite instrumental in allowing the city to take a big crack at it. And what we anticipate, because we will be also doing a new pavement management report in the next 6 months. And when looking at all of the work that we've done, completing roughly 110 miles of residential streets over these 3 years, that we would actually see quite a large improvement in our PCI, and kind of bringing us up into from that fair to good to more of a good to very good rating, which is, so really this has been an important effort that council took to get us on this path. And then with our arterial paving, as I've said before, we have Woodruff Avenue funded for construction this year. We have the remaining 4 CIPs on Bellflower, Imperial Highway, Lakewood, and Downey Avenue currently funded, and we would have those shovel ready by the end of this fiscal year. And while we don't have an actual cost for each of those projects, we estimate it would be in the $2 to $4 million range for each project. Looking at our paving priorities, we would return back in 2024 after we receive our first bids for Area 5. And if needed, staff will present our solutions for addressing any gaps for doing the remaining 4 areas to complete the residential program. Assuming this $2 to $4 million budget to complete the CIPs, we would like to, at that same time, discuss in preparation for next year's budget how we would prioritize those 4 projects, including looking at other funding sources and grants. And so there are a number of grant sources that we could look at, including regional funds that could be available through Metro. to start taking a crack at some of these CIP projects. So recommendation is to receive and file this update on our paving efforts. And as I said, we would return back in spring of '24 if necessary to discuss any priorities or potential funding gaps. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
If I could, Mayor, just one quick second. I wanted to just highlight, thank you, Matt. One of the things that's important here is that the arterial projects are funded through design, meaning that we'll have them all designed this year. As Matt mentioned, that makes them shovel ready. So a lot of times when you have funding entities out there, Metro, federal government, other entities that want to provide dollars to help with projects, they want to know that it's ready to go to construction immediately. So, excuse me, we will have all of our arterial projects designed this year, so they're all shovel ready and ready to receive funding. We will need to look at, as we go through the next couple of budget cycles, the priorities for funding those projects, because that's $16 million total to do all those remaining projects. So we will have to maybe prioritize and look at our budget to figure out what we can and can't do over the next few years. But nothing to raise alarm about at this point. We just want to make sure the council is aware of what's coming on the horizon.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, City Manager. A question on the map. If we can go back to the map on the various areas, what can you tell me? Where is the area 6 as far as the arterial avenues?
Let's see.
You know, to the, you know.
It looks like it's bounded by Lakewood to the west, and Florence to the north, and Firestone to the south. So those would be the main arterials that sort of bound that residential area 6.
Okay, so that is south of Florence.
Yes.
And west of Lakewood.
Yeah, east of Lakewood.
Excuse me, east of Lakewood.
And
yes.
north of Firestone.
And then for 3, then that is then north of Florence.
That's correct.
And then number 7, what are the boundaries on that one?
Let's see, that looks like Paramount to the east, Firestone to the north, Imperial Highway to the south.
Okay. All right. Questions, comments?
Thank you for that, Matt. Just had one question.
Sure.
Some streets are worse off than others. Is there a way to prioritize streets over others that are in bad shape?
Reprioritize?
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good question, because I know that we've had a street management plan that allows us to then navigate and choose what is the prioritization of the streets. However, I think we've been made aware that within that street management plan, the streets that have been looked at some point, there's been streets that have been repaired a couple of 3 times in let's say the last 15 years, whereas some streets haven't really been touched in over 20 years. So how can we confidently tell our residents, yes, we have looked at and really, because some of those streets may have to be bumped up that prioritization list.
Sure, and when we look at each particular zone, that we have a design consultant on board who reviews the pavement management report. And there's a balance of how we go about, essentially we do almost every one of the streets within that zone. But determining what treatment each street gets is gonna be based on that. So it is gonna be, for the most part, it's gonna be prioritized based on the pavement management report. So if we have a street that is rated at a very poor level, we're going to be doing a full construction on that street. You can't do slurry seal preventative maintenance on that type of street. So those decisions are sort of weighed as we look at how many funds we have available for each area. But the idea is to balance and kind of spread. The idea with a slurry seal is to sort of
extend the life
protect your investment, extend the life, so that you're not having to spend a lot more money to fix it, on a sooner basis. So that's sort of the approach that we take within each one of those zones. Our design consultants take a look at all of that and helping us prioritize what needs to be done.
Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo, you had a question.
What I found, Madam Mayor, or regarding that question in terms of how can we move up a street. So what I was told is that the machinery is set to handle certain zones at a time. So they have like 2 zones going on. So if you have a street in another zone, they're not gonna get to it until they get to that zone. They won't move the machinery to go take care of that one street in that other zone. So what we've been telling the residents is, look, your zone is coming up and it's programmed for the fall of '24. Please understand that the machinery is in another section and we move it by section, is what I was told. Is that still the case?
That is correct. So
Yeah.
sort of the bids that we get are based on kind of having everything being fairly close in a geographic space. So if we had to jump around the city, let's say we had, if we did it straight off of our PCI and we had, 3 really poor streets in the northeast part of town, and then if they had to jump all over town, it makes the cost go up. So we have to look at how we, wisely use those funds. And so that's another reason why it's kind of grouped in geographic areas. So you are correct, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Matt, for that clarification. So, well, I guess I take comfort in knowing that all this was factored in the beginning, in the initial process.
Absolutely. And like, again, with the goal next year of kind of basically wrapping up the remainder of those residential streets so that, we really have addressed all of those and have them all caught up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And on that note, I think it's important to, again, do an informative or education campaign, or just have something that shows the residents and the community what has been done and what is coming, because then I think that alleviates. Again, it doesn't have to be too much information. A lot of times, too much can be overwhelming.
Right.
But a few bullet points that, with a map of what is happening, I think that can go a long way to giving our residents, direction and informing them of what's coming.
Happy to do that, Mayor. We actually, the intent with this would be to put it on the website so residents
Absolutely.
can go to this, look at this map, see where their street's at, when it's been paved, or when it's going to be paved, so they can know what's going on with their streets.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. Any other?
I had one
Yes,
quick question.
Councilmember. O'Hara.
I'm just looking at section 9 there. There's 2 members in the audience and I. We were on the Public Works Committee back in 2021 in the summer, when this all was established. Somewhere between Foster Road and Imperial here, there looks like there might be a couple residential streets that were not covered. If you look on your map, you see that big green line, and then you see 2 smaller lines to the right of it. There is a street right next to it, and I'm not sure if it's residential or commercial, but in 2021, all of these streets were supposed to have been completed. So I'm wondering if you've completed everything in section 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons why you might see some gaps within an area is that it could be streets that were completed before this program was started. Let's say if a slurry seal was done on a street in 2017,
So
that might be why
it didn't need the improvement
at that time. No,
Okay.
and it would still be like at the end of this. Once we complete the residential streets, the following year we'll still need to go out and start addressing some of these streets that had a slurry seal extension that now is in line for an overlay or a reconstruction. So the idea is those slurry seals buy you 5 to 7 years time and let you spread your dollars and use them on other overlays and reconstructions. Allows you to spread those dollars a little bit more. So if you're seeing gaps there within some of these zones, it's most likely because we did some sort of pavement treatment on them in 2016 or 2017, and that's why they weren't part of anything done.
Okay, or the grading, because
Exactly.
we had that grading, if it was below or above certain grading, then we
Every
didn't touch it.
year, every year a street loses about 2 off of its 2 value off of its PCI. So as soon as you
Yeah.
finish it, it starts to degrade actually. So yes, we would once we complete this, we understand that it's just like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You got to go back and start addressing some of the streets that have been done. So we would likely be going back into these areas that you're talking about and creating new projects for future years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I will make a motion to receive and file this update regarding the citywide parking efforts.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. At this time, we are adjourning in memory of Battalion Chief Earl Dyer of the Richmond, Virginia Fire Department, who suffered a medical emergency while on duty. Firefighter Troy Thompson of the North Carolina Seven Springs Volunteer Fire Department, who suffered a medical emergency while at the scene of an accident. Officer Richard Mendez of the Philadelphia Police Department, who was shot and killed inside the Philadelphia Airport parking garage while responding to a vehicle theft call. And Dominic Malachi, or Malachi, Los Angeles police cadet who died unexpectedly. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. It is now 8:54. This meeting is adjourned.